Let's go to Greg in Lexington, Kentucky. What's up, Greg?
Oh, this is getting real now.
Oh, man. That's what my wife said at the altar.
Oh.
So what's up?
Nice. So my wife and I would love to have your help on how to navigate the sex talk with our kids.
Let's talk about sex, baby.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So
loves to talk about. So just to give you a little background.
So, you and your wife want to talk about sex? I'm just kidding. Is it with kids?
Yeah, with our kids.
I'm not helping you and your wife talk about sex. But, okay, so tell me about your kids. Tell me what's up.
So we have a 10-year-old and a 7-year-old. And we've always been super honest and upfront with them about all body parts and the correct names for them. All those conversations there's never been any embarrassment. We don't joke about body parts, and so it's just all normalized to them. And the one conversation we've had with our oldest, our daughter, is our upcoming cycle that she'll be experiencing.
Hold on, dude.
It was my wife had that conversation.
She's gonna have a period?
Yeah.
Not her upcoming cycle that she will be one day starting soon, sir. Like you're a robot. She's gonna have a period, dude. Right?
Correct.
Say that word.
She's gonna have a period.
Hey, you did it. All right. So she's gonna have a period. Not a cycle that one day she will soon be attempting to begin and start. All right. So your wife had the conversation about having a period?
Yes.
Okay.
And it went pretty well. She was kind of weirded out by the thought of it at first, but then shortly after that, she just ran to her brother to tell him the exciting news.
Hooray!
Which she thought was extremely crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what's your question there?
So yeah, just how to successfully navigate that conversation with just the basic sex talk, as far as that, they've never even asked us how do babies get in mommy's belly.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously it's going to be somewhat awkward when they figure out what mommy and daddy do in the bedroom.
Heyo. Here's the thing. It will only be as awkward as y'all make it. Now, there will be moments when I say awkward, like when they become teenagers, it's more disgusting than awkward.
Right.
Like I just can't have that picture in my head, right? So I get that. But the awkwardness, so this happened in my house. I may have said this on the show. I don't know if I did. This is like 3 weeks ago, okay? This is live in the Delony household. We were sitting down to dinner, just sitting down, minding my own dad business. I don't even think I'd washed my makeup off from work. And I sat down at my table. Yeah, and that sounded as bad as you think it does. I sat down at the table, makeup on, ready for dinner. Wife sits down, son's sitting down. My daughter, who's 6, just pulls her chair out to climb up in it and eat dinner. And she goes, Mom, Dad, how does the boy part get inside the girl part? And I was like, I just want to have dinner. I hadn't mapped this talk out today. I didn't really know this was coming. And my wife, no one missed a beat. I think my son's eyes probably got a little bit wide just because he's a good kid trying to take care of his sister. And ultimately, I said, Josephine, it's sex. And it's awesome. And this is how this works. And my wife did say later, I wouldn't have said that at the dinner table because that was a long conversation we ended up having, right? But that's just, we just explained it. Mm-hmm. And so when you ask me, like, how do we address the mother and the dad? They see their own anatomy, and you just explain it as clear as can be with no weirdness at all. You know what I mean?
Right.
At all. And when they say, do y'all do that? You say, yes. It's why? Because it's awesome. Mm-hmm. Or how do you think y'all got here? And there will be a season when they think y'all have done it 3 times, or however many kids you have, that y'all have done it 3 times, and then one day they'll figure out, oh, gross, they do it a lot. Yeah, and that's part of being kids. Mm-hmm. But it's that this is where you can start a shame process around sex, or you can start a real openness and a reverence for and a joy around, all in how y'all have that conversation.
And that's what we want. We want the normalized, not the shameful, not the embarrassing. It's going to be embarrassing. Like you said, it's embarrassing enough at the teenage years, but at this point, we're trying to hold that off.
Yeah, so it can be as dramatic as, all right, what do you know about sex? Tell me. And how old are your you told me 10 and 7, is that right?
Yes.
All right. So you go for I don't know, the old, they're sitting in the back seat and you're sitting in the front seat, so you don't have to look them in the eye. It's so normed in my house that we haven't even had a huge event. We did have one where, like, a mechanics conversation that I thought I just crushed, and I didn't do a good job of the mechanics. I did a good job of, like, the interaction, but I just didn't do I didn't do a good job. But it wasn't because of the awkwardness. It was just because I explained things poorly. But we talk about it so much, so it's a normed thing in our house. And it's not just about sex. So often we think about how to have the sex conversation. Really, it's about how do we have the grief conversation and the tears conversation and the daddies have struggling at work conversation and the mommy's is choosing to be frustrated with dad because daddy doesn't pick up his shoes conversation. We're creating an environment where it is okay to feel things and to say that out loud.
Okay.
And it's okay to. You hear what I'm saying?
Yeah, and that's what we were wondering too. Like with both my wife and I, we had one conversation with our parent.
Yeah, exactly.
And we're wondering how to do that on a continuous basis, where just give them what information they need today, and if they have questions later that they might not have today. How do you?
I don't put the burden of questions on my kids.
I see.
I give them. We have an environment in our house where they can ask us anything, and God help us all, they do. Holy smokes! But when it comes to hard conversations that I need to make sure they get information, I do not wait for them to come to me because they live in a world where they don't have to.
Yes.
Google will tell them.
Yes.
Their friends will tell them, and if their friends can't tell them, the smartphone will. So it's not my responsibility to put those kind of put the weight of asking that question on my kids. I'm going to bring that to them, while also creating an environment where that's okay. So at this point, so you say you talk about it a lot. I'm guessing just by the way you describe menstruation that you and I are taught differently in our houses. So give me an example of how you are open about sex in your house.
No. We've been open about the body parts, but as far as the actual sex.
Okay.
They have not happened yet.
Okay.
No.
So they're 10 and 7?
Yes.
So they know about sex.
We've asked, and they're like, "What is that?" Like, they honestly do not.
Okay. I gotta tell you, I got fortunate because we just we had animals. I'll just put it that way.
Right.
Yeah, so we were able, and we talked about mating. One time my son, when he was just learning about deer hunting, he asked, Dad, do you still go in the rut? I was like, yes, I do. Not quite like a deer does, but yep. And so anyway, we talk about animals and stuff that way, but I would approach it just directly and say, we're talking about sex today. This is going to be ask any question. And I would get right into it, man. Don't bat an eye about it. Don't be same as, hey, we're going to talk about architecture today. We're going to talk about,
right.
I don't know how
we set the tone.
Yeah, exactly. And you can do it together. Y'all can sit at the table so they can see y'all talking about it, not being weird about it. You can go to breakfast together, go to lunch together and talk about it. But the main thing is getting that first conversation. If y'all have never talked about sex out of the way, having that first conversation. If your kids can honestly look at you and say, we don't have no idea what you're talking, like what?
Yeah, they are that way.
And they have no friends that have brought it up with them?
Mm-mm. Nope.
Do they are they homeschooled? They go to school?
No, they're public school, but even like we have 2 dogs, and the one dog will violate some toys every now and then. And my daughter's just like, has no clue. She's like, he must really like that little stuffed animal. He's always trying to cuddle with it.
So all you,
Yeah.
all you have to say right there, dude, that is a gift. It's a gift from the heavens when that happens. All you have to say is that dog's practicing mating.
Mm.
And you can actually point out the anatomy on that dog.
Right.
Right? And so,
Right.
and you can say, you know how you have this part and then, you have this part and this is how the sex works. And it's that simple. Or it may be a little bit weird if the dog's just getting after a stuffed animal. That can be weird for everybody. But it can be a callback, right?
Right. Remember when?
Yeah. Remember when Fluffy was rocking onto the break of dawn with the the teddy bear? You can call back to that, right? The key here is levity. The key here is that balance between seriousness. This is an important topic that I want to make sure you hear from me. Sex is incredible and it's awesome and it's reserved for these situations, and it is it's designed, and your body's perfect as it is. You know what I mean? It's making sure that those messages get across, and those messages will be judged on how comfortable or not comfortable you are. It will also be judged by how tense you are and how awkward it is. Unless you call it out. Hey, this is going to be weird, but we got to have this talk.
Yeah.
Right? And that's my relationship with both my kids, that if there's something awkward, I'm going to tell them, hey, this is going to be weird. And they all go, oh, here we go, Dad. Whatever it might be, right? But I breach it that way, and I'm vulnerable in that way or honest in that way, and I don't think twice about it. I want them to know it's okay to not know exactly how something's going to go.
So at their ages, you wouldn't think it would be inappropriate to discuss it with both of them together.
10 and 7?
Yeah.
Are they same gender?
No,
I'd break them up.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd break that conversation up for their comfort, not for yours.
Mm-hmm.
It might be weird talking about sex, and they will remember having the sex talk with their sister or their brother.
Right.
And so I wouldn't have that conversation together like that. If they were both sisters, they were both brothers, possibly. But we're going for their comfort, and they may want to ask questions. They may want to, you know what I mean? And I don't want them sexualizing their brother or sister either.
Right.
So, and I also would not call back to their brother or sister's parts. Right?
Right.
This conversation's about them. And anyway, yeah, I wouldn't do that together. I would have, if I'm in your case, I would have my wife go talk with my daughter, and I would go talk to my son on this initial conversation. And then in the future, I've talked to my daughter about sex. My wife talked to my son about it. It's just a part of the rhythm of our house, as are any questions. And I think that's the thing I want to get to. After you have this initial, I'm a safe space, here's what sex is. And once you have that initial conversation, then it's about making sure we create a context where we can ask anything, feel anything, be heard on things, and then move on from there.
Have you seen the books like by Roby Harris, Michael Emberley?
No, I've never seen them.
No.
I do. There are some great children's books on talking through sex. Where I see parents screw that up is they give the book to their kid and say, you read this.
Oh, no.
Yeah. If you want to read it with them, fine. I would start all of this with a conversation, though.
Okay.
Just a human-to-human conversation is how I'd start it.
Yeah.
Because, again, we are norming this thing. Like, if you, oh, man, if you, you wouldn't read a children's book on much anything else to explain something to your kid, right?
Yeah, right.
You would explain it. Now, if they showed interest in it, you might then get a children's book about it. So that's what I would say here. Think first, this is about relationship building, less about sex. How about that?
Yeah, that's perfect.
Think about you're building a relationship with your kids, and is a part of relationship building, I'm letting them know I'm a safe person to talk about sex. In fact, I'm your go-to on this stuff.
Yes,
And it's
yes.
not weird, it's not whatever. And you and mom do that? Yep. It's private, but yep.
Mm-hmm.
And I wouldn't bat an eye about it. You don't want them to ever think it's something to do in secret or quiet, right? Do you hear me on this, Greg? Thank you for being a dad who wants to have these conversations.
Oh, yeah.
We got to have more dads and moms out there norming sex, norming body parts. We just got generations and generations of kids who grew up to be adults and thought their bodies were something to be ashamed of. And they thought sex was something to be ashamed of. And they couldn't say it in public. Don't be that dad that berates their daughter or makes jokes at their daughter's expense, but also don't be the dad that calls it the cycle that they may one day be experiencing either, right? Deal?
Deal.
All right, good. Hey, brother, I'm grateful for you. Thanks for fighting the good fight, man. Parents, talk to your kids about sex. God almighty, do it. Thanks for being good parents, Greg.